Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah, how are you?
How are you, sir?
Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
After a long time, it's very good to see you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, first of all, I'm very sorry that we are starting 5 minutes delay because the morning session was delayed actually.
Right. Okay. No, not to worry. Not to worry. I'm here whenever you are ready.
Yes, sir. People are joining. The other faculty and participants are also joining. Meanwhile, we will start the session, sir.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to the afternoon session of today's International Conference on Artificial Intelligent Systems with Applications in Communications, Networking and IoT. Now, the plenary talk is going to be delivered by Professor Keshav Dahal. He is a professor of intelligent systems and director of artificial intelligence, virtual communications and network, AVCN research at University of West of Scotland, Paisley, UK. He received his master's and PhD degrees from University of Strathclyde, UK. He also held academic and research positions at the University of Strathclyde and University of Bradford, UK. His research interest lies in the areas of applied AI, trust and security modeling in distributed systems, blockchain technologies, and scheduling optimization problems. He has been principal investigator and co-investigators on more than 20 externally funded projects and supervised over 30 PhD and postdoctoral researchers. He has published over 190 papers in his research fields with award-winning publications and has sat on organizing and program committees of over 70 international conferences. He is a senior member of IEEE. With this brief introduction, I like to invite Professor Keshav Dahal sir to start the session.
Okay, thank you very much, Sulaksana, for nice introduction. Can you hear me and can you see my slides?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you very much. And hello and good afternoon to all of you. It is my great pleasure to join you in this plenary sessions. Sorry that I couldn't be there in this morning. It was a bit early in UK, but I'm sure it went well in this morning. So today, in this about an hour talk, I'm going to talk about one specific work we did some time ago on trust computational model development for distributed systems, and I'm going to give you some case studies in e-commerce and managed area. Okay, it has some AI applications within itself, but you'll not. And I'm not going to concentrate on AI more here in this talk. We have published quite a few papers on this topic, and if any of you want to know more on a specific aspect of this talk, then please contact me by this email, and then I can send you paper, or we can do further discussion. Okay, so as Dr. Sulaksana said, I'm a professor of intelligence systems at the University of West of Scotland, and I'm also the director of artificial intelligence, visual communications and networks, called AVCN Research Institute within the university. So just before going into in a technical talk, I just like to take this opportunity to introduce my university and my research institute a little bit to you, and then we'll talk about the technical talk. Okay, so. This is Scotland. Scotland is a very small state within United Kingdom. You all know United Kingdom has four states, and Scotland is one of them. And Scotland is quite beautiful place. Naturally it's quite beautiful. A lot of hills, lot of lakes like this, and very greenery. But it's a bit cold place. Yeah, the temperature here during winter is around 0 to 5 degree during winter time, and in summertime it goes 20 or 25. And if it's a 25, yeah, everybody here hops and pops saying that it's hot and so on. But other time temperature is mild. Weather is a bit rainy, and therefore it's quite greenery as well. The population of Scotland is very small. It's about 6 million people. So even not one small state in India. So it's a very, very small state. But Scotland has its own, history, and it plays quite a great role within UK. And the UK population is about 66 million. So Scotland is 1/10 population, and England is the biggest one. But even though it's very small within UK, its influence in Westminster and UK politics is very obvious. So a lot of prime minister and finance ministers in Westminster governments are from Scotland, like Gordon Brown. Tony Blair is a half Scottish, if you like. Yeah, he studied in Scotland, and a lot of finance ministers are from Scotland. People say that Scottish people are very good in money. Okay. So as I said, although it's a small country, state, it has played its own role in technical developments and innovation in the world. So the telephone, Alexander Graham Bell, there's a lot of Bell Laboratory in America and also in Scotland, was Scottish, and it was invented in Scotland, in Glasgow. Television with Italian scientist Marconi and John Leggy Beard, was a television inventor. Those who are in economics know Adam Smith is very well. He's the founder of modern economics, and he's from Scotland, from Glasgow as well. Penicillin, Alexander Fleming. Penicillin is one of the biggest, considered to be one of the biggest invention, and that is also from Scotland. MRI scanner, John Millard. Actually, that's from our university, Paisley Technical College, which later became University of West of Scotland. Dolly the sheep, gene cloning was done in Edinburgh in Scotland, in Roslin Institute, and so one of the very big invention. Harry Potter, many of you may have read, very popular fiction book. It's written by J.K. Rowling, and she's also from Scotland. And steam engine, one of the biggest invention for industrial revolution done by James Watt, and he's from also Glasgow. So you can see that although it's small, but it has it's quite innovativeness, and it has gave quite a lot to the world. Okay, my university, University of West of Scotland, it became a university in 1991, but its origin goes back to 1897 as a Paisley Technical College. So it became a university, after about 100 years, and a lot of invention, technical invention has had happened in Paisley Technical College. We have 5 campuses, 4 campuses in the west of Scotland here. Therefore, university is called West of University of the West of Scotland. And about 6-7 years ago, we opened a campus in London as well. So we have a London campus here. And apart from that, we have campuses abroad, like in China and Dubai. And we used to have one in India, in Delhi as well. But I think in Delhi campus has been closed now. But university is looking for some collaboration in India, because India is a big country, a lot of innovations, a lot of talented technical people. So university like to be presented in India. It played quite a transformational influence role on the economic, social, and cultural development, not only in Scotland but in the world. And we are very international university, so a lot of international students. Almost 20% of our population are from overseas. And many countries, including India. And university is in top 500 universities in the world's ranking for engineering education. And also, it is within 150 young university, which is less than 50 years old in the world ranking. Okay. This is my institute, AVCN Research Institute. Possibly this is the largest research entity at the university, and I'm just putting there possibly, just to be, in a soft way. So the lead researcher within the institutes, and there are 6 professors, full professors, 1 reader, and 7 lecturers. So these are academic people, and we have 10 postdoc who are the main engine of our research activity. 8 KTP associate. KTP is a UK government scheme to work with the local businesses. It's called Knowledge Transfer Partnership. So government provides funding, and we need to apply and compete and get funding for that to work with the local businesses, and government gives some money for that. So currently we have 8 KTP associates within the institute. And also we have over 30 PhD students working in different projects. Collectively, we have over 900 reviewed publications and possibly 300 publications in the last 5 years, with some award-winning paper. We have big externally funded research projects, mainly from EU, UK government, and local industry. So currently within the institute, we have about 40 projects going on, with total worth over £40 million. Okay. This is a composition of research institute. Within AVCN Research Institute, there are 6 research groups, and each of these research groups are led by a professor here. Okay, and although these groups works on their own, a bit more independently, but all research activity of this group is overseen by Research Institute, AVCN Research Institute here, and a lot of collaboration and try to collaborate between research groups. And say for some groups are very good in computer networking, for example, 5G and beyond networks. Some groups are in AI applications, for example, data analytics for intelligence and autonomous systems. But these group collaborate for research project applications, for PhD supervision and postdoctoral supervisions and so on. And if you want a bit more information on each of these groups, what they do and what area they work, then you can visit our website. Okay. I'm just going back. So these are in a very high-level research area we are focusing. So AI is a main engine or main core activity within the Research Institute. So we work AI for UN Sustainable Development Goals. University has provision or strategy to be outstanding university by 2030 on sustainable development goals. And all our activity, teaching and research activity, should be aligned with that strategy. So we wireless, mobile, 5G, 6G networking, cyber and network security, deep learning, machine learning, intelligent decision support systems, data science, big data, data analytics. We work in IoT, robotics, and sensor networks, cloud, fog, edge computing, blockchain, and distributed technology. Also, video, image compressions, transmission, some logistic problem, remote healthcare, AR, and virtual reality, and augmented reality, and mixed reality. User experience research, computer game development research, and computing for education research. These are some of our big topic of current projects and current PhD students. But we have much more than this. So if you are interested to do your postdoc or PhD or masters in any of these area, we can collaborate and work together, and even from the Vardhaman College of Engineering as well. We can somehow form a team to do some collaborative research. Okay. Okay, so that's a little bit in introduction to my university and my research institute. Please feel free to contact me if you want to know a bit more about the institute and university. Okay, so now for this talk, I'm going to talk about the trust modeling mechanism and how we can use that in distributed systems. So I'll give you a little bit overview of reputation-based trust model in distributed system, and trust management as a security provision in distributed systems. And as I said, we are going to look at two case studies, one e-commerce system, where how we can evolve the cooperation of different player in e-commerce system rather than and discourage the dishonest activity. And a similar approach we are going to look at in mobile and ad hoc network MANET to reduce selfish nodes. Okay, and we'll look at some observation of our research activity. Okay, so now trust is is quite complex and quite subjective and sometimes very context-dependent concept. Trust between two people. Sometimes I may be trusting some other person, but other person may not trust that person. Yeah, so it's quite complex, and it's quite subjective as well. Sometimes we trust some people or some person in a particular subject, but may not trust in other subjects. For example, if you take football, you may trust David Beckham very well, but if you are talking about politics, or one suggestion in politics, maybe David Beckham is not the right person. Yeah, and then also the context dependent. So like I said, yeah, it's a context dependent. Subjective is it dependent on the people. Some people trust the same thing quite well, but others are not trustworthy. For others, that may not be trustworthy. You can find very different definitions in literature of the trust. But for this talk, for technical use of trust model, probably it can be defined something like this. So the trust is the subjective probability by which an individual A expects that another individual B performs a given action on which its welfare depends. Yeah, so A is dependent on B's activity. And then what's the subjective probability so that B performs a given action? Okay, so that's the trust. In day-to-day life, a lot of sometimes we use trust and reputation very interchangeably. But they are different. Yeah, trust is one thing, and reputation is other thing. But in trust development, trust model development, sometimes we use reputation like a trust, okay? And the reputation can be defined as an expectation about an agent's behavior based on information about or observation of its past behavior. So in this case, we are expecting, again, there's a probability, but those probabilities based on past action, what that entity or person did in the past, what was the past behavior, and that observation defines the expectation, and that's the reputation. Okay. So trust merges out of the quality of experience the truster has had with the trustee in the past. Yeah. So trust is basically your experience, and what was the quality of experience the truster you has had with the other person, trustee, in the past. Okay, so the quality of experience in the past defines your trustworthiness of the trustee. When information through direct interaction is not available, the assessor turns to the society. So when you have the direct direct interaction with some friend, then you can evaluate, you can observe the trustworthiness from the past action of that person. But in many cases, you want to evaluate someone which you never had a direct interaction, or never been your friend. In that situations, if we want to evaluate the trustworthiness of that person, we need to turn to society and find out how reputable or how trustworthy that person is. So it's not the direct interaction, but you are basically asking your friend and how that person is. Yeah, so that's the you're turning to society, and an estimation of trustee which is held by the society is known as its reputation. So basically, what is you are asking your colleague the reputation of the person you want to evaluate for trustworthiness. Okay, so that's how we use reputation, which is a estimation of a person actions in the past as a for evaluating the trustworthiness of that entity of person. Okay, so this kind of trust worthiness been tried to manage the trustworthiness of the distributed systems. Distributed systems are distributed peer-to-peer interactions there, and there's in many cases there is no centralized mechanism, and everybody working on their own, but we need to do the interactions. Yeah, so if you look at e-commerce systems, you are buying and selling, and you are buying from unknown person and you are selling to unknown person. So you need to do some homework whether that's the right person you want to do the transaction. Similarly, in other distributed systems like Manage, there's nodes are distributed, and each node need to communicate with other node, and that node need to find out is that the node which it is trying to communicate is trustworthy. Okay, so trust management mechanism had been grown as a powerful tool for evaluating the trustworthiness of an entity in several distributed systems like e-commerce, e-market, as I mentioned, other peer-to-peer network, and social media, how to trust other users, mobile and ad hoc network environments. So there's a lot of applications, distributed systems, and the trust management can help to enhance the cooperation in the distributed systems and establish some working in a good working environment. And computational trust model for large-scale distributed system can reflect the complexity of trust. So this, if we can develop a model which can take care of the complexity of the trust, then that provides a better solution. And also it can enhance security and also help entity to evaluate their neighbors' trustworthiness. Okay, and which is very important for any interactions or any transactions. Okay. So just taking a small example here, and I'm just taking eBay example, which is quite old e-commerce system here. So eBay use and many other eBay-like e-commerce systems are using some feedback mechanism, scoring, and reputation calculations. Yeah. So in eBay, this work I've done some time ago. So I guess this is still valid for eBay. So eBay processes feedback to compute feedback score, and feedback score is the percentage of positive rating obtained through the transactions in past 12 months, excluding repeated feedback. So basically it collects the positive feedback, and then positive feedback divided by total feedback is the rating feedback score for that particular user. Okay. So, but this feedback, there is no classification of feedback source on the basis of the past association between buyer and seller. So it doesn't classify where this feedback score is coming from. Okay, sometime what you can do, you can do the lot of transactions of very small value. Say for example, 100 rupees transactions, lot of transactions. And when it comes very big transactions, let's say 10,000 rupees transactions, and one can default. And even in that case, even say if you've done 999 100 rupees transaction, positive transaction successful, and then 10,000 transactions is negative, still that person, that entity will have 0.999 feedback score. So which is not reflective there. Okay, so that's the one part, and other part is also, there is a lot of ballot stuffing activity where your friend can provide you a lot of positive feedback and a lot of transactions and positive feedback, and one can make a high reputation from there. But other people may have provided negative feedback, but if they are a small number, that doesn't count or influence in reputation calculation well. Okay, so that's why we consider a possible improvement of this existing model by introducing an acquaintance-based model. So acquaintance-based model is basically, can we classify the feedback sources, and then we can perhaps weight this feedback score with these feedbacks and come up with a composite score. Okay, so this kind of activity, you need a lot of data. And obviously, data collection from an e-commerce website is difficult. So what we did in our research, actually, rather than trying to get eBay data or some other e-commerce data, we have developed a business game model based on prisoner's dilemma, where prisoners has a dilemma. And which is very similar dilemma exists in e-commerce environment, which I'm going to come back, and generated data, and then also what strategy these players should take so that their activity, so that the overall welfare or environment be more cooperative rather than defective. Okay, so our business game model is based on concept of prisoner's dilemma. So in a prisoner's dilemma, there are two prisoners share a different dilemma, whether to give evidence against, which is called defect, or hold the evidence. Yeah, so for example, here, let's say two prisoners, prisoner A and prisoner B. So they are caught up by police, and they are put in separate places. Okay, so now prisoners A can cooperate with police and give evidence against prisoner B. So that's cooperation called. Okay, so sorry, no. If prisoners A and prisoners B cooperate and do not, cooperate and give the evidence against each other, then police, and there is a reward. Reward is just 1 year prison sentence. Okay, so both will get 1 year prison sentence. But say in other case where prisoners B defect, means does not give tell evidence against, and then prisoner A gives the evidence against, prisoners A, basically prisoners B is getting benefit by not giving the prisoners A evidence, and then prisoner A became the culprit here. So in that case, prisoners A gets 5 years prison sentence, and then prisoners B get away with that. Okay, because against his there is no evidence there, and this is other way around. So prisoners A is giving evidence, and prisoners B is holding it. So prisoners A B getting 5 years prison sentence, and A is getting away with that. And if both defect do not give evidence each other or give evidence each other here, so they will both get or hold their evidence, then both get 3 years penalty. Okay, 3 years prison sentence. So this one is called temptation. So this is if you are holding it and then get away with that, then you are rewarded with the temptation. Yeah, and if you are both are cooperating, you get a reward. So reduced sentence here. So that's the reward. And then if one is punished, punishment is 0 temptation here, and then succor is 5 year here. Okay, so you can see that this is a penalty, and this temptation greater than reward, greater than punishment, greater than succors is the condition. Reward condition. This one here is the 5 year is opposite here. Yeah, reward is 0 year prison sentence is the reward, and 1 year is reward, and 5 year is other way around. If you take here, yeah. So it's a punishment, and here we are talking about reward. Okay, and reward is opposite of punishment. That's why it's opposite here, greater than here. Okay. So if you look at now the two e-commerce player, buyer and seller, they also share the dilemma. Okay, so say if you are buying something, seller is selling something, and buyer is buying something, and let's say A is the price of the item in transaction. So what happens if both cooperate means seller sends money to the buyer sends money to the seller, and seller sends good item to the buyer. So then both get this reward. Price of seller gets its price, and buyer gets good of worthy of price A. Okay, so that's the cooperation. Now the other situations here, one defects and one say seller defects. No, seller cooperates and buyer defects. Means seller sends its good and it's losing in a price A, and buyer not sending money back to seller. So it got money as well as the goods here. Okay, and this is other way around. So seller is not sending good, buyer is sending money, so it lost that price, and buyer now seller is getting money as well as good and not sending the goods here. Okay, so one is cooperating and one is not cooperating, and here both defects. So seller doesn't send the goods, and then buyer doesn't send money here. Okay, and this is situations here. So this is quite a similar dilemma like we looked at previously between buyer and seller, and depending upon which situation they may act whether to cooperate or defect depending upon situations. Okay, and this dilemma is there. And sometimes, if they can get away by not sending good, then seller may opt by doing defecting it. So, and we want to reduce this kind of activity in business model. Okay, and what happens in business environment is, in prisoner's dilemma, it may be one-off game, but in e-commerce kind of platform, it's a repeated game. Yeah, people come and do the transaction again and again. So that's called iterated prisoner's dilemma situation, which is representative on online business environment. Okay, so the condition for PF is still the same here. so temptation, reward, punish, and succor. So this situation should, if it's meeting this situation, and the dilemma may occur in the pair. And further condition for repeated interactions for iterated prisoner's dilemma is 2 times repetition is greater than temptation plus succors. So it's here greater or equal here. And if this happens, then repeated transactions or iterated prisoner's dilemma condition meets there. Okay, so now we can use this environment in a prisoner's environment to develop some sort of model in a game playing environment where we are basically representing the e-commerce transactions. Okay, and now the modeling side, in trust modeling side, so the reputation of a player is based on cooperative actions in the past. So there are a lot of players are either sellers or buyer, and their reputation is based on cooperative actions in the past. Okay, so each player before playing a game gather feedback on opponents' past actions from 3 different sources. So in our model, what we said, we are classifying now the feedback sources. So feedback is coming from direct reporter. So that is the player who had the actions in the past. So the player itself is reporting its own past experience. That means, I have already done a transaction in the past, so I have direct experience with that other player. Yeah, if I am a seller, I know the buyer very well because I had my own past experience. So that's feedback coming from my own experience. Other player. We classify as gray reporters. So gray reporters are those which I have not had my interactions with them before, but my friend, or those other buyer or seller who I have interacted previously have provided their feedback to me about the third person. So basically my friend's recommendation. Okay, here. So that's the gray reporter. So I don't know the person or the buyer seller directly, but those who I have interacted previously had provided their experience to me. So that's the gray reporter. And then other one is opponent friendly reporter. So that means those feedback which is coming from other players. Okay, those who have not interacted even with my friends. Okay, so player who have not only played with even with my opponents. Those who have only played with my opponents means those who are not in my contact or even not in my friends' contact, but they are in contact with my opponent. If I am the seller. So those who played with my buyers who have not contact even with my friends. Okay, not with me, not with my friends. So that's opponent friendly reporter. So that's the 3 classifications we did. And then to gather the informations, what we have done, let's say we have these 16 players, player P0 to P15. So 16 player, and they are in a spatially distributed. That means, say for example, if you take P5, so there its neighbor is P0, P4, P8, P9, P10, P6, P2. So that means this neighbor we already played before. But other, this one, P7, for example, yeah, I'll give you an example here. So let's say there is a P5 and P6 are trying to establish interaction or communication. So the direct report is, my own experience between P5 and P6. Yeah. So there one. So if this is PX interaction with P6 is this, let's say this is a number, and then interactions with Py is P6. So there, and this should be usually same because this interaction with P6 is reported in P5, and interaction of P6 with P5 is reported in P6. Okay, so that's the direct one. And then the second one is gray player. So gray player means those player which had played with both of us. Okay, so if you if this is we can play only with neighbor if you take like that. So P5, our common player are P1 and P2, P9 and P10, for which both P5 and P6 have some past experience, and these are reported. So report from P1, report of P1, P2, P9, and P10. Okay, so that's the gray report. And then other one is an opponent-friendly reporter for P5. For this one is P3, P7, and P11, because these never played with P5. Yeah, and its opponent only played with P6. That means opponent-friendly reporters. They are opponent-friendly reporters here. And similarly for P6, opponent-friendly reporter will be P0, P4, and P8. Yeah, P0, P4, and P8. So now you can see that these are the classified, and probably you trust the most your experience for P6. For example, for PX, your experience is the most valuable one, or more trustworthy one, and then you trust possibly with P2, P9, P1, P2, P9, and P10, because you have had interactions with them before, and maybe you less trust on these opponent-friendly reporters. Okay, so the past interactions history of player X and with player Y, yeah, we can calculate something like this. This is a vector where this is a cooperation and this is a number of defections. Okay, so where cooperation are the number of cooperative and deceptive interactions of X with Y in this form here. Okay, so and this applies to both all of them here. Okay, now the probability of expectation value of trustworthiness is basically total number of cooperation divided by total number of interactions or transactions, that is cooperation plus defection. Okay, so that's the expectation we are talking about, and this is expectations or probability we are basically calculating using probability of distribution of trustworthiness using some gamma function here. Okay, so we don't need to know that much, and this is a gamma function here, and with this condition, this gamma function, and if with additional one conditions, let's say when P is probability is not 0 if cooperation is less than 1, and probability is not full or 1 if defection is less than 1. If this condition applies, this gamma distributions will change. With this simple expectation here. So expectation is basically total cooperation divided by total transactions. And now we can use this expectation value for calculating trustworthiness here. So our based on expectation value of the individual reports, the trustworthiness factor TWF, which is ranges from 0 to 1 of player Y as assessed by X. So X is assessing Y here. Can obtain through this formula. So here, this is weighting coefficients, and this is expectation of direct report here, and then this is expectation of gray report with some weighting coefficients, and this is expectation of opponent friendly reporter with weighting coefficients here. And for making this between 0 and 1, we are using this weighting coefficients. Total value is 1, okay, with different factor here, factor value. And how much this factor should be, weighting coefficient should be, depends on again your experiments or your judgment here. But in our case, so we did weighting coefficients for direct report as 1 and 3/4 for gray report, and then 1/4 for opponent friendly report. Okay, so this is if it's this one considered as 100%, this is 75% weighting coefficients, and this is 25% here. But these coefficients we just put ourselves, and you can do some experiments and then come up with these values there. Okay, so now we have this trustworthiness model for each of these players now, and now we can conduct play. Okay, so embedding this trustworthiness in this game. If you go back in this game now, if any of these wants to play with P1, P5 wants to play with transactions with P6, what they will do, they will collect the feedback, calculate this trustworthiness, and if this trustworthiness value is greater than some threshold value, whatever that threshold value is, then only P5 will play with P6. Otherwise, it will not do the transactions. Okay, so player have an associated variable threshold, which determines the minimum level of trustworthiness expected from the opponent to play a game, and the game happens only and if only if that is greater than that threshold value. This trustworthiness is greater than that. And now we use this, and we use the different strategy here, a cooperative strategy. So what to do? They play the game. That's the game playing environment. Now you need to decide whether to defect or we need to cooperate, whether to cooperate or defect. Okay, so once it decides to play the game, then it needs to develop a strategy. So what strategy it could be? So it can look at, okay, game, we are playing game, but it may look at its previous 3-4 transactions, for example, with P6, and then find that P6 has defected, say for example in previous 2 transactions. Then you may decide to defect, yeah, or you develop some strategy. So there are a lot of strategy like tit for tat. Look at the previous one, 3 times defected, 1 time cooperated. Then you may form your own strategy for that. Yeah, all the time cooperated, the opponent cooperated. You may decide your own strategy for that. Maybe, I don't know, you may take defection or maybe interactions. Okay, so there is some, and every player will try to maximize their payoff. Yeah, and that's the game, and everywhere we do the gameplay. Yeah, so that's the strategy. But in as a if this is my, if I'm the eBay or I'm the e-commerce side, what I want in my side, the player should cooperate. I try to embed strategy or environment so that cooperative actions are evolved, are encouraged. Okay, so the evolution of cooperativeness is studied by varying this threshold value. This trustworthiness value. This can be done by entity. If entity really want to cooperate only with very high trustworthy entity, then probably they will cooperate on many times. Okay, so in for overall environment to enhance the cooperative environment, we did some cooperative some strategy. We developed a lot of strategy, library of strategy, which encourage or discourage sometimes. But overall we want good strategy B, and good strategy which helps the cooperation among the player over the time. We are going to encourage that. Okay, so our simulation model is two-dimensional spatial grid of player with overlapping ages, like the one which I showed, 16 player, and each player has 8 neighbors to play the cooperation of defection game. That the same one, and player are characterized by series of strategy for cooperation or defections. Like I said, there's a series of library of strategy. That strategy they can take, and the evolution, the actual evolution in the game is that player strategy, and it's based on genetic algorithm. So, and then over the period, what we did, we try to optimize this strategy, which strategy for which player is the best. And that is based on genetic algorithm. So basically, each player take, for example, here 16 players. 4x4, 16 players there. So each player has a strategy. They will evolve their strategy using genetic algorithm, and their strategy could be, if look at the 3 defect, what you do, defect, cooperate, defect, what you do. Yeah, this kind of evolution optimization is done by genetic algorithm. So that's a strategy based on their previous actions. A balanced population of strategy was chosen for initial composition. So we provided different strategy for a player to choose from. And then with those strategy evolve, we evolve the strategy, and then player while playing pick up a strategy and play the game. And sometimes they cooperate, sometimes they may defect. Okay, and then we are doing that freedom. We need to leave that freedom to the player. So to study cooperativeness, 2 trends were observed. So we looked at the cooperativeness index, and then the population, and then other measure was population of highly cooperative strategy. So cooperative index is basically ratio of the expected probability of cooperation of the strongest strategy to that of the weakest strategy is computed in each generation. So we looked at strategy which encourage or highest cooperation, and the strategy with the lowest cooperation. Okay, so that ratio is basically provides us this expected probability of cooperation. So we want to improve that. We want to increase that. Yeah, and then the second one is how many players been highly cooperative. So the cooperative is basically those which have cooperated greater than 90% on their transactions, and they are a cooperative player. Okay, and the strength of a strategy is determined by payoff it earns, which in turn is guided by a business model. So the payoff is each player want to maximize their payoff. That's the business. Yeah, in business you want to maximize the payoff. And each strength of strategy for particular player is evaluated, or fitness value is here is payoff, how much it earns by using that strategy. Okay, so now we did experiments for 3 environment. One is business environment without any trustworthy assessment. Okay, we are not using any trustworthy model, so just a free play. That's the first one. Second experiments we did was business environment with a reputation-based trustworthiness assessment, but not considering feedback weight. So the second environment is more or less like a eBay. Yeah, so we are using trustworthy assessment, but we are not classifying that. So we are gathering all feedback as same. So that's the second one. And then third one experiment is business environment with reputation model, weighting feedback on the basis of past acquaintance. So we are classifying that feedback and using that our weighted sum there. Okay, so that's a three different environment, business environment here. And then also we have done some experiments for very low threshold of the trustworthiness, which is 0.1, or very high trustworthiness. And we want to interaction only if opponent has trustworthiness calculation value greater than 0.9, so very trustworthiness. So this is low, and you want to do the transactions with many opponents, and here you want to do only with opponents which has a very high trustworthiness. Okay, so this is a results. The first results is without any trustworthy model. So transaction with anyone. And you can see that the cooperativeness index, and this is the over the generation, number of interactions here, generations, and then you can see that cooperation and defections goes up and down here. Okay, so there is no consequence, if you like, here. Okay, so there's no steady evolution. Average value was 0.9 cooperative index. Attained 1 after 60 here. So it attained 1 after 60. So 1 means the strongest strategy and weakest strategy are the same. Okay, you are the index here is ratio of expected probability of cooperation of the strongest strategy divided by the same expected probability of weakest strategy. So after 60, it becomes the same 1. Okay, and no significant changes in strategy after 60th generation here. Now with the second one and third one, so this is the second one where we are using feedback mechanism but not classifying here. So and the blue one is non-weighted index at threshold value of 0.1. And this one is weighted classified. Red one here is classified feedback at threshold 1, same threshold value here. Blue one is like eBay type trust model, and red one is our proposed weighted sum classification feedback. Okay, and you can see that here. They become steady again after 50 or so iterations, and it goes the 1 again here. Yeah, because we are not classifying them here, and very similar to previous one. And with for low value, if the trustworthiness is very low, then it becomes the same like previous one. Yeah. And when with trustworthy value very high, this blue one is cooperative index is here, and then our proposed model cooperative index goes up to 1.2, means strongest strategy has almost 20% more cooperativeness than weakest one. Okay, weakest strategy, and so that will provide some incentive for player to take that strongest strategy, because their cooperative, their successful will have the 20% more here. Okay, so the cooperation more predictable at higher threshold here. Cooperation is more predictable here. And also it is steadiness. You can see it's steadiness and better coop index observed in the presence of weighted systems in our systems. Okay. Okay, so and the other index, cooperative players. So cooperative players are those here. So we did no reputation system. So it's bottom here. So the population of very cooperative players are very small. Yeah. And non-weighted assessment at 0.1 and weighted assessment at 0.2. So this one, these two. Yeah, these two, and with 0.9 non-weighted improves that with trustworthiness, but you can see that with weighted assessment 0.9, cooperative players evolve very significantly in compared to other ones. So this is the population number of cooperative players in our environments here. After many iterations here, it gone a little bit down here, so we may need to look at why this is down, or if we continue playing, it may improve again. So this is just 100 generation. We are doing 100 games generations we are doing here, but it may improve again. It goes up and down a little bit, but overall improvement, you can see that overall improvement. Okay. Okay, so an observation here is reputation-based systems do play a significant role in promoting cooperativeness in society. Business are mostly repetitive rather than one time. So acquaintance between player and seller may be useful. So classification may be useful. So establishing weight to feedback on basis of the nature of the past association promotes cooperation in the player society. So it is recommended that such model is model in reputation-based trustworthiness. We recommend to use that in business environment here. Okay. We published quite a few paper here, so 3 paper. If any of you are interested in this e-commerce environment, I can send you a paper. And actually, one paper won the best paper award in very reputed IEEE conference on this topic. Okay, I don't know how much time I have. I can briefly talk about the MANET. Now, exact same principle we have taken with the MANET, mobile ad hoc network. So you all know what is mobile ad hoc network, so I'm not going to do that. So let's look at with topology. Very simple example. In MANET, when packets are, this is source of a packet, and it travels, finds the route based on some protocol. And in this example, if we have, say, A is source and H is destination, so there are possible routes are this. Okay, so but in this route, and normally we use strategy something like shortest path finding and some other protocol, other protocol. But if you use this kind of protocol, some of this entity may be defective, may be not cooperative. So what may happen? A pass the packet to B pass to E, and if E is not trustworthy, it may drop the packet due to some reason. Okay, and packet will not reach here. And from security reason, that is also quite bad, because dropping packet may have the information which this E may be selfish node and may benefit from that, or it may just want to conserve its energy. Okay, so there are bad player as well, and what we are saying is, if we use something like this, we may filter out some of this selfish node. Okay, so again, there is a dilemma here. In this dilemma is whether to cooperate by forwarding the packets or conserve one's resources and defect sender by dropping the packet. So they can cooperate or defect depending upon whatever beneficial payoff for that. That node may do that. Okay, so the defection could either be due to merely faulty node or node's selfishness to conserve the energy or act of strategic node. So trying to maximize its gain. Okay, so it becomes necessary to identify trustworthiness for the collaboration. So we did actually the same game with 25 nodes using some network simulator using the same trustworthiness model. And we calculated packet drop ratio with 3 trustworthiness threshold 0.2, 0.5, and 0.9, and then calculated what happens, what is the packet drop ratio here. Okay, and you can see that packet drop ratio when we don't have the no repetition at all are very high. So this is the ratio, very high. And if we use threshold value 0.2, 0.5, and 0.9, that ratio is very, very small here using our model. So packet drop ratio significantly reduces that, but it has some other disadvantage of it requires some computational mechanism and how to so this is the aggregation of the packet drop ratio here. So our observation is it's good, but it has a difficulty of it need to be calculated, and then also it need to collect the feedback from the your immediate node, and then node friends of immediate nodes or node which you have interacted before, and then opponent friendly nodes. So that feedback, and it requires some computational time. And sometimes these feedbacks may be bad feedback, or maybe not trustworthiness feedback. So there are a lot of different kind of attack. If we have this model, there may be a different kind of attack. Something like bad mouthing attack to the feedback. Basically, feedback means you don't like someone and bad mouth feedback. So you are providing negative feedback all the time, which is not good feedback to consider, or ballot stopping feedback, which is for your friend, you are providing a lot of like Indian Idol, all friend and family are voting for the person who is in their family. So that's the balloting stuff attack. So always the positive feedback. And there are some other unpredictable behavior of the network. They can behave differently and provide the false trust evaluation. Like a selective misbehavior attack. They are attacking some node, providing bad feedback, and some node good feedback. Conflict behavior, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Intelligence behavior, trying to be a bit more intelligent so that the evaluator find that that this trust is trustworthiness feedback. Time dependent attack, sometimes providing good, sometimes bad. Location dependent, in some location good feedback and some location bad feedback. So all these attack provides feedback which are not trustworthy. So we need to filter out these attack. So we develop some other model where we try to filter this out by using some clustering and classification technique, some cluster managing technique. So for cluster management, we use again, similar. The model is similar, but this feedback, we want only good feedback, not the bad feedback. And to filter out those feedbacks, we use some filtering mechanism, clustering mechanism based on means of using confidence value. You have some confidence of your friend. Some friends are very, you are very confident with, and some are not. So use that confidence value on their feedback. Compatibility of information with the evaluated party by the mean of deviation test. So you got feedback for a particular person from a particular group, and if some feedbacks are out of the range, you just do the deviation test on that and filter out some of those which are outliers. So that's the one other mechanism. And other one is a closeness between these parties. Someone is providing feedback, so try to find how close that friend is with the person who is you are trying to evaluate. If they are very, very close, then probably you trust that feedback less from your friend. Like if your friend's family member, for example, you are trying to find out something about family members, then probably they will not give the an honest opinion of that. So that closeness also we consider here to filter out. So we basically use this filtering out mechanism and did some work. Sorry, I am running out of time. During simulation we increase the percentage of dishonest recommendation up to 80%. But with our defense technique mechanism or trustworthiness, so you can see that the throughput is not reduced. Okay, and when there was no defense, no model use in our simulation, and then with more dishonest feedback, the trustworthiness or throughput is going down here. Okay, and this is packet loss. So packet loss is increasing with no defense, and packet loss is more or less same, even with very high rated dishonest feedback because of this filtering mechanism. Okay, so this is again about bad mouthing attack. If good node 12 trust value is remaining same with defense, but its trust value goes down if we don't have this defense mechanism here. So bad mouthing attack has a lot of impact on this good node 12. And this is a bad node 4. So ballot stuffing attack may increase their trustworthiness if we don't have the defense systems. But if we have the defense systems, this trustworthiness model, it more or less remains the same here. Okay. So this conclusion is basically, we do recommend to use this, but it has some disadvantages like computational disadvantage, and then how to filter this dishonest feedbacks and so on. Okay, we publish quite a lot of paper actually in this area in very good journals like Transactions in Mobile Computing, in Network and Computer Applications, and with some conference as well. So if you are interested, you can find that from my webpage as well, or if you email, I can forward that paper to you, or you can find from this journal as well. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I don't know. I may be running out a little bit of the time. Thank you very much for your attention, and I really enjoyed giving this talk. So I don't know whether there is any time for me to answer some questions. If not, Dr. Sulaksana, is there any time?
Sir, actually, the sessions, technical sessions are scheduled at 2:30 p.m. It's past the time.
Right. Okay. Okay. So in that case, you can send me if you have any queries or anything. Thank you very much. Sorry, I've taken a little bit longer time, a little bit late started, but yeah.
Good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ma'am, can I propose a vote of thanks to our general
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
It's with pleasure that I stand to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to our esteemed guest and General Chair, Professor Keshav Dahal, for his enlightening and inspiring session. On behalf of the Department of ECE and Vardhaman College of Engineering, I would like to extend our sincere thanks to you, sir, for being with us today and making this session more knowledgeable. And thank you once again, sir. And we look forward to more opportunities to learn from you in the future. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, and I hope to visit you sometime in future. And I wish all the best for conference and all the best for department and Vardhaman University of Engineering as well. Okay, College of Engineering as well. Okay, thank you very much, and bye
Thank
for
you,
now.
sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.